Caitlin Clark, please leave this league and let it crumble. Please, this league does
leave the league and let it crumble. That is the message echoing across social media. A furious demand from fans who have watched the WNBA's biggest star get treated like a human punching bag. This isn't just about a few hard fouls anymore. It's a relentless campaign of targeted aggression, off-ball cheap shots, and shocking betrayals from officials who seem determined to punish the victim. The WNBA was handed a generational talent, a savior who shattered every record for viewership and attendance, but instead of protecting their golden goose, they've allowed her to become the primary target in a war zone of their own making, sparking an outrage so intense it threatens to burn the entire league to the ground.
The game, I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do.
The numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is not just a star. She is a commercial supernova. Games featuring the Indiana Fever are averaging over 1.1 million viewers, nearly triple the ratings of other WNBA matchups. When she plays, attendance doesn't just increase, it explodes. In Atlanta, the crowd jumped from 3,300 to over 17,500. In Washington, it swelled from under 5,000 to more than 20,000. She has generated more revenue, more interest, and more relevance for women's basketball than anyone in history.
NBA every day because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA. I love the way they play the game. But we really watch it because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now, let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that. She gone for a year or two. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money? Stop playing with that girl home. Look, y'all need to start doing this. Put them emails together with the commissioner, to the referees. Don't put y'all damn hands on.
She is, without a doubt, the league's golden goose, but on the court, she's being treated like a tackling dummy. The abuse is blatant and relentless. It's not just hard-nosed defense. It's a pattern of off-ball hip checks, vicious screens, and shoves after the whistle that serve no purpose other than intimidation. This isn't competition, it's a campaign of harassment unfolding in plain sight.
You just go play basketball somewhere else. Your fans will follow you. We will follow you wherever you go. But let this shit crumble and burn to the fucking ground, man. Let the viewership drop below 50%. Let them lose hundreds of millions of dollars again, man. Let them go back into fucking irrelevancy. Nobody giving a damn about none of these players.
While Clark endures this nightly assault, the WNBA's response has been a deafening silence. The league's leadership, the very people who should be protecting their most valuable asset, appear paralyzed. They issue no strong statements, create no new points of emphasis for officials, and do nothing to curb the escalating violence. This inaction has created a system of betrayal where the aggressors are emboldened and the victim is left to fend for herself. The officiating has become a running joke, but the punchline is a disgrace.
I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so it's all good.
In multiple games, Clark has been the one to receive a technical foul for simply reacting to a blatant non-basketball play. The message sent by the referees is clear. You can target her, but she is not allowed to show frustration. It's a broken system that punishes the victim and rewards the bully, leaving fans wondering if the league is incompetent or complicit.
Oh, y'all literally been beating this girl up, pushing her on the floor, pulling her hair, poking her in the eye. You hear me? That's dangerous, bro. Because y'all mad because she pulling up threes in your face and then talking her smack like she should. Everybody else do it, so what's different? Y'all be picking and choosing who y'all want to pick y'all battles with, bro. That's just people in.
The breaking point came during a heated matchup against the Connecticut Sun. The game was already physical, but the aggression toward Clark had reached a new level. In one sequence, she was jabbed in the eye. Moments later, as she was still reacting, another player shoved her to the floor. The whistle blew, and in a moment of stunning injustice, the technical foul was called on Caitlin Clark.
Marina Mabry's still staying in the game. What do you have to do to get ejected? Yeah, that's all of our question, buddy. None of us know. None of us know what you have to do to get ejected in the WNBA. You can pull hair. You can pull hair. You can drag. Stop. You don't even have to pull hair. You can drag someone to the ground by their hair and not get ejected. You can you can body check someone to the ground with no ball in sight. You can poke someone in the eye. None of these things will get you ejected. So at least we know these are the 3 things that you can do. Has anyone thrown a punch yet and not gotten ejected? I think that's just the last straw. Like, maybe that would get you ejected. Anything else? Fair game.
The arena, the viewers at home, and her own bench watched in disbelief. This was no longer about a tough game. This was a clear, undeniable pattern of targeted abuse being actively enabled by the officials. The tension had been building for weeks, but this was the spark that would ignite a firestorm. It was the moment the injustice became so blatant that someone had to act.
Sophie, who's my one of my favorites now. She's become one of my favorite WNBA players. I'm gonna watch her too, like I watch Caitlin. Look at what she did. And people may not say that this was in response or whatever the case may be, but I feel like Sophie is like, you want to play? We can play. I want to play the clip of her with the girl. And your girl Sophie.
Wilson at it, knocked away. Good hands by Allen. And Sheldon comes up with the steal.
Watch it.
Coast to coast.
What's up there?
And here's we got another. Breakers here as J.C. Sheldon goes right after
blonde
Sophie
hair and the high
Cunningham.
heels fool you.
It was a hard foul, no
She
good.
got her in the headlock.
With less than a minute left in the game, Sophie Cunningham decided the bullying stops here. As Connecticut's Alyssa Thomas raced down the court, Cunningham didn't just foul her, she made a statement. She yanked Thomas down by the hair, a dramatic and shocking move that immediately sent a message to the entire league. It wasn't a subtle play, it was a raw, visceral declaration that if the officials wouldn't protect her teammate, she would.
Are we even surprised about this? Sophie Cunningham's jersey sales just passed Caitlin Clark's after she goes viral overnight for protecting Caitlin Clark in a game where she got fined $400, which Caitlin Clark apparently is paying for. But yeah, we found our new queen at Indiana.
In that single explosive moment, Cunningham exposed the league's complete failure to do its job. She became the enforcer the fans had been crying out for, an agent of vigilante justice on a court where the official rules no longer seemed to apply. And the fan reaction that followed was something the WNBA could never have predicted.
I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so it's all good.
There are players in the Fever team that are soft. And I'll say this, where it's like, it's very rare in sports that the guard is the enforcer. Everyone's like, oh, Caitlin needs to stand up for herself. And I'm like, 1, she does, but 2, she's a small guard. No small guard likes physicality. No small guard hunts for physicality.
The aftermath of Cunningham's retaliation was an online explosion. Before the incident, she had under 400,000 followers on TikTok. Within 48 hours, she had over 1.2 million. Her Instagram following grew by over 800,000. Her jerseys sold out so fast, they were listed as unavailable for weeks. Fans weren't just supporting her, they were anointing her. They called her the enforcer, the people's champion, and Clark's bodyguard. This wasn't just a player going viral, it was a cultural movement.
Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs to get better, specifically the consistency, not only from one game to the next, but the consistency within a game. One coach told me, we tell our players to be as physical as they can possibly be for 40 minutes because we know for 38 of them, they're pretty much going to get away with it. So I think everybody would like to see a tighter whistle and a little bit.
It revealed the sheer desperation of a fan base that had been watching their favorite player get brutalized week after week. They rallied around Cunningham not because they loved the foul, but because they loved that someone, anyone, finally had Clark's back. Her sudden fame was a direct indictment of the WNBA's failure.
Never in a million years would I thought I would feel compelled to turn on that WNBA game that's going on at the same time and find myself watching it and yelling, "Drag her ass," as Sophie Cunningham is tackling Sheldon to the floor. Love it, dude. It's so good. So good. The WNBA has needed, and the Fever more specifically, but just in general, the WNBA has needed a Sophie Cunningham so badly. And for the record, every single team needs a Sophie Cunningham. Every team that has, their star player, their top guy, gal, whatever, you need someone on the team that when they get messed with, you put that person, whoever messed with them, on their ass. Every time. Every single team in professional sports.
When Sophie Cunningham finally spoke to the media, her words cut through the usual PR spin. She didn't offer a half-hearted apology or talk about the heat of the moment. Instead, she delivered a scathing indictment of the entire system. "I think the refs had a lot to do with that," she said, her voice heavy with frustration. It was a build-up for a couple years now of them just not protecting the star player of the WNBA. This was the bombshell. It wasn't a rookie issue or a one-time thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think I'm wrong, but Caitlin Clark is the most marketable American athlete that we've had in forever. Also, Sophie Cunningham is a smoke show.
This was, in her words, a multi-year failure. Her statement confirmed what every fan and analyst could see. The problem was systemic. Her claim was immediately backed up by respected ESPN analyst Rebecca Lobo, who stated after extensive research that Caitlin Clark is being played differently and defended differently than any other rookie who's ever stepped onto a WNBA court. It was no longer a debate, it was a documented fact exposed by an insider and confirmed by an expert.
Man, I like to see it though. I'm not gonna lie, man. I really like to see girls who are hungry, feisty, can play ball, supporting their teammates. It makes it entertaining, man. It make you want to watch WNBA. You're like, hey, they out there brawling. It's back and forth. Caitlin Clark out there hitting threes like it's going out of style. Her teammates got her back. Like watching this all come together make you want to watch it a little bit, and see how they play. And I think without Caitlin and them coming to the league, I just think that I don't think it'd be as popular. I think it would have been status quo. But Caitlin Clark is making a ruckus with everybody hating on her, everybody trying to fight her. And then the fact that she plays well.
After all the drama, the viral moment, and the confirmation of a systemic problem, the league finally handed down its punishment for Sophie Cunningham's actions. The penalty for her dramatic hair-pulling foul, an act that dominated sports headlines for days, was a fine of just $400. Let that sink in. $400. It wasn't a punishment, it was an insult.
So you all know about the fight. You saw it. It's the biggest sports news story of last week. That was the one thing. But then it came out a couple of days later. Sophie Cunningham got fined. I'm just curious, what do you think the fine was? What do you think the fine was? In the NBA, you hear so-and-so fined $5,000. This person fined $10,000. I've even heard $25,000. But here's what Sophie got fined. $400. Oh my God. If that's going to be the fine, rack them up. I'm going to put $2,000 to the side, $2,500 to the side, knowing there's probably a limit. A flagrant 1 is $200. A flagrant 2 is $400 in the WNBA. Rack them up. Probably takes 4 or 5 flagrants to get suspended for a game. I don't know what the rules are. But my point is, if you're going to be messing with Caitlin, I'm going to put $2,000 to the side. Me and Caitlin are going to have a little fine bucket. $2,500. This is for the season. And then I'm going to dare people to come.
It was a clear signal to every player in the league that the cost of roughing up the WNBA's biggest star is less than a pair of new sneakers. This laughable consequence exposed the truth. The league is not serious about protecting Caitlin Clark. A fine that small doesn't deter behavior. It encourages it. It essentially green lights further aggression by showing that the repercussions are meaningless. It was the final piece of evidence proving that the system isn't just broken, it's a complete joke. Let's be clear about what this is. It's not just poor leadership, it's one of the most staggering displays of business malpractice in modern sports history. The WNBA was a league fighting for relevance, and Caitlin Clark handed them a winning lottery ticket. She brought in millions in revenue, secured massive new media deals, and forced teams to move games into NBA arenas just to handle the demand she created. Any competent organization would protect that asset at all costs. Instead, the WNBA has allowed petty jealousies and incompetent officiating to jeopardize their entire future. They have turned their greatest investment into a liability, creating a toxic spectacle that alienates the very fans they desperately need. This is organizational self-sabotage on an epic scale, a case study in how to turn gold into dust. We may be past the point of no return. The league has now set a dangerous precedent. Physicality against Clark will go largely unpunished. But one enforcer, no matter how dedicated, isn't enough to fight an entire league's worth of resentment. What happens when multiple players target her at once? What happens when the next flagrant foul results in a serious injury? The trust is broken, not just Clark's trust in the league, but the fans' trust as well. And her fans have options. International leagues would pay a fortune to sign the biggest name in women's basketball. The idea of her starting her own league, once a wild fantasy, is now being discussed as a real possibility. The WNBA has forgotten a crucial fact. They need Clark more than she needs them, and they have given her and her massive fan base every reason to look for an exit. We are now at a tipping point. The WNBA finds itself in an impossible situation, profiting more than ever before from Caitlin Clark while simultaneously fostering a toxic environment that threatens to drive her away. The leave the league sentiment is no longer a fringe opinion, it's a mainstream discussion among fans and media. They've proven they will follow Clark anywhere, to different cities, networks, and even other leagues. Sophie Cunningham's emergence as an enforcer bought the league some time, but it also exposed how deep the rot goes. Enforcers can't fix a broken culture or force incompetent officials to be fair. The writing is on the wall, visible to everyone except, it seems, the WNBA's leadership. So the question remains, a ticking time bomb at the center of the sport. Will the WNBA be remembered as the league that Caitlin Clark saved, or will it go down in history as the league that drove her away and sealed its own fate?